Garnacho off to Chelsea? Negotiations nearly done. Tottenham pinch Barca's superstar. Sancho's got a new club. Real Madrid nick Liverpool's key player. All that and loads more in today's episode. But before we get into it, as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Ready? Let's jump into the latest transfer rumors. Real Madrid have found themselves a new center back, and it's a bit of a curveball, Ibrahima Konate from Liverpool. Medium term, they genuinely feel the need to shore up the middle of the back line, and the Frenchman is on their radar. Initially, Madrid weren't planning to spend a penny. The idea was simple genius, straight out of Perez's playbook. Wait a year for his Liverpool contract to expire and take him for nothing, just like they did with Rudiger and Mbappe. Please don't leave this episode without reacting. It really helps the channel. Hit thumbs up or down right now and drop a comment. We'll be grateful. But things could flip on their head. As say, there's a real chance Liverpool will let Konate go as early as this summer. Why? Because the Reds look close to bringing in two players for that position, Marc Guéhi and Giovanni Leoni. With that sort of influx, keeping someone who walks for free in a year is pointless. Liverpool are keen to renew Konate, of course, but the player is, by the sound of it, already set on Real Madrid, so the odds of a new deal are tiny. A move now would at least give the Reds some money back. That's where Madrid may launch a late swoop for the Frenchman. Rumor has it Los Blancos have rattled Anfield by starting direct talks with Ibrahima. Liverpool's top brass, reports claim, are desperate. In the next few days, they're ready to table a very lucrative offer to keep one of Arne Slot's few fit first-choice center backs. The message is clear. They can't let him go for free. Marca report Liverpool's position is set in stone. If Konate turns down this new generous deal, the club will, without a second thought, put him on the market before the window closes. Better to bank something now than watch him leave for zero next summer. Madrid, for their part, are quietly playing the long game. There's a fear at Anfield that Konate has already given them a verbal yes. If so, they can simply wait until January and sign a pre-contract. But there's a twist. PSG are in the wings and like the player as well, so the Merengues may have to move now. They're not planning to splash the cash, mind. The word is the offer won't top 20 to 25 million euros. Whether Liverpool accept that is another matter. For now, this route is gathering momentum. Konate seems closer to the Spanish capital, but Los Blancos must either persuade Liverpool with a modest fee or be ready for the Parisians to outbid them. Xabi Alonso's squad planning has even been adjusted with the potential signing in mind. It's very real, but as ever, it hinges on money. Jadon Sancho is still on United's books, but only in name. He's fallen out with the fans for good, and Amorim wants nothing to do with him. Roma have seen the chance and thrown a line in. Per Fabrizio Romano, they're putting up £20 million all in for a loan with an obligation to buy. Sancho has, as reported, opened the door to the move. What else is he going to do? Park it in the stands on 350 grand a week? Ben Jacobs first talked up a straight transfer for the same £20 million, but Romano later set it straight. It's a loan with an obligation. United wanted a clean sale, no loan games, but the clock's against them. The deadline's looming, and the Red Devils could cave. Paying that wage to someone not even in the squad is plain madness. At Roma, there's a slot for Sancho off the left as a 10. He's right-footed, so it all clicks tactically. He's also said he wants to play closer to the middle. In Roma's setup, where they want hybrid attacking mids-wingers, he could shine. The snag is the wages. Sancho will slash his terms. But by how much? At United, he's on silly money, and Roma aren't made of elastic. Inter have popped up in this, but there's nothing concrete yet. Juventus have dropped away altogether, though they were once favorites. For Sancho, it's a last roll of the dice to reboot his career. After the United flop and a brief loan revival at Chelsea, he needs stability. Roma can provide it if he bends the showboating and gets the graft in. Funny that United paid £73 million for him and now are ready to let him go for £20 million. Still, better than carting dead weight on a huge wage. Sancho's shown the Prem's not his scene. Maybe Italian football bails him out. After all his carry-on, I wouldn't punt more than a fiver. Kolo Muani has finally got his wish. The Frenchman is returning to Juventus, and this time for the long haul. He's been practically praying for this move over the past month, blanking every other offer. Newcastle came knocking, Tottenham offered better terms, but Randall just sent everyone packing. Only Turin, only hardcore. PSG are squeezing the maximum out of the Bianconeri, 55 to 58 million euros. The setup is the classic one. Pricey loan plus an obligation to buy. According to Tuttosport, that's 10 million euros for the loan, and 45 million euros for the buy. Given Juve already stumped up 5 million euros in January for a short loan, the total comes out around 60 million euros. A bit steep for a player who's basically spent half a season at the club, but the Turin side are ready to pay. Fabrizio Romano rates the deal at 70%. A solid figure, but not a sure thing. Still, with personal terms agreed until 2030, you can call it as good as done. The Parisians are simply waiting to see if someone appears with a fatter offer at the last minute. But Kolo Muani is spoiling that. He's firmly set on a return to the Allianz Stadium and won't go anywhere else. In half a season at Juve, the Frenchman hit 10 goals in 22 matches. Strong numbers, especially considering he joined mid-season. Plus 3 assists and participation in the Club World Cup. Igor Tudor clearly sees him as an important option in attack and wants him in for the 24th of August opener against Parma. Interesting point, Juventus are pushing this deal regardless of the Vlahovic situation. Nicolo Schira confirms the loan with a subsequent purchase, which becomes mandatory on certain conditions. Which conditions aren't specified, but it's usually either a games played threshold or Champions League qualification, a standard insurance in case the player gets injured or forgets how to score. PSG, in general, don't mind letting Kolo Muani go, but they want to recoup at least part of what they paid Eintracht. They shelled out about 95 million euros for him. Now they're ready to let him go for 60 million euros, minus 35 million euros. Not the smartest investment, but for PSG, it's small change. Spurs have got a serious problem. James Maddison's injured and out for a long spell. They need a creative heartbeat in the middle, sharpish. And, going by the Spanish press, they're eyeing Dani Olmo. Not just eyeing, they're already out in front of a few Premier League clubs in the race for his signature. Barca are open to letting the midfielder go. It's not just the stop-start form and the frequent knocks, it's the money. Plain and simple. The Catalans need to trim the wage bill. Word is a bid around £52 million could do the trick in this window. Last season, Olmo hit 12 goals and laid on 7 assists in all competitions. Even so, recurring injuries stopped him locking down a place in the starting 11. Add in La Liga's financial rules, which are already squeezing the club, and a sale looks perfectly realistic. Yes, only a year ago he moved from RB Leipzig and called returning to Barca his dream. But in Catalonia lately, dreams tend to be sacrificed to the balance sheet. For Tottenham, this would be close to ideal. Olmo's a smart footballer with top vision, capable of playing as a number 10, pulling out to the left, or even operating as a false 9. He times his late runs into the box well, and that adaptability makes him a versatile option for Thomas Frank. Olmo's the all-rounder, and you, my unsubscribed viewers, are the masters of watching incognito. I appreciate the loyalty, but it's time to step out of the shadows. The stats say more than half of you are in that group. Let's stage a mini flash mob. If you've got this far and haven't joined us yet, just hit subscribe. Let's see if we can turn the silent majority into the official fan club off the back of one video. There's parallel interest from Saudi Arabia, where a big contract is on the table, but the player, so the media say, leans towards staying in Europe. His priority is a project with serious sporting aims, not just financial ones. On that front, Spurs look the better fit. The club are in Europe and badly need his creativity after losing Maddison. Inside Barca, they know losing Olmo would hit their depth. Even so, Hansi Flick is said to view it as a strategic move, free up resources to register other players, including Marcus Rashford. It's much like the levers we've seen, sporting ambition bent to economics. Now it's all about talks. If Spurs table a concrete offer, Barcelona will be tempted to wrap it up fast so they can push through their own business before the deadline. And Olmo, by all accounts, is open to a change of scene, especially with the promise of a key role. All told, Spurs have a chance to land a player who can do more than just cover for Maddison. He could become one of the leaders of the side. The question is whether they can get it done before the window shuts, with competition for the Spaniard growing by the day. The Xavi Simons situation keeps getting more interesting. Manchester City, as it turns out, are ready to jump into Chelsea's talks with RB Leipzig over the Dutchman, and that could seriously change things. According to TalkSport, City are closely tracking how it's unfolding and are ready to act if the Blues wobble. Chelsea seem to have already agreed personal terms with Simons, and the player is ready to move to Stamford Bridge. The snag is, they can't see eye to eye with Leipzig on the fee. The Germans want around £60 million. Chelsea are ready to pay just over £50 million. You'd think they'd find a compromise and be done. But no, talks are stalling, and that opens a window for City. Guardiola is reshaping the squad. Grealish has been sent on loan to Everton, and McAtee is practically agreed with Nottingham Forest. There's also Savinho, whom Tottenham want to take. If the Brazilian does go, they'll definitely need a new attacking player. That's where Simons could fit. The Dutchman is exactly the type of player Pep loves. After all these exits, that sort of versatility would be a gift for City. And honestly, when has Guardiola seen a technically gifted player and not wanted him? Funny thing is, Leipzig only recently bought Simons from PSG. In January, they paid over £40 million, plus up to another £20 million in bonuses. How much of those add-ons has already been paid is an open question, but the Germans clearly expect to make a tidy profit on the resale. So here's the picture. Chelsea are dragging their feet on the price, not keen to overpay. City can calmly put down the £60 million required without batting an eyelid. Their financial clout is broader, and they do need this profile. If they decide to move, they could hijack Simons very quickly. For the Dutchman himself, City could be appealing too. Yes, at Chelsea he might get more minutes right away, but at City it's working with Guardiola, fighting for trophies, a different level of ambition, and by the looks of it, personal terms won't be an issue. If he's agreed with Chelsea, he'll agree with City. The Blues need to hurry. Every day of delay increases the chance that City will take the plunge and make a bid. And if City really enter the race, beating them to it will be difficult. The window is closing, time's running out, and dragging this further is risky. It'll be interesting to see how it ends. But the fact remains, what looked like a done deal for Chelsea is now a big question mark. Alexander Isak has triggered a mini revolt at St. James's Park. He simply failed to attend training, then missed the next one as well. For several days, the Swedish striker has effectively held Newcastle hostage, and it is all because of Liverpool. According to the Daily Mail, Isak has initiated an informal boycott. He is not training and does not intend to play until the club allow him to move to Anfield. Yes, negotiations are at a final stage, with €138 million apparently agreed, yet the final sign-off has not arrived. Isak, it appears, has had enough. His agent Vlado Limic has poured fuel on the fire by advising his client to push Newcastle's hierarchy to accelerate the deal. Within the club, Sky Sports report there is dissatisfaction, but they remain calm for now. No fines. That calm will not last. Eddie Howe has confirmed Isak is not training with the first team and may not play again. From here, only tougher measures. Should the forward refuse to take the field in the next Premier League round, disciplinary action will be immediate. A fine, possibly a suspension, and even a sale to a different club rather than Liverpool. In short, the longer this drags on, the greater the frustration on both sides. The Reds, incidentally, are content. Arne Slot wants results straight away, and Isak is not a let's wait and see profile. He already delivers in the Premier League and can clearly make the difference in top matches. Yet the situation is not black and white. Yes, Isak wants to leave, but Newcastle are under no obligation to let him go. He is under contract and the club can stand firm. The Telegraph write that the club's position is he will not be sold this summer. Categorical. That very rigidity has angered Isak. He believes the club refused to act fairly. He has been loyal, carried the team, did not complain even amid partners' inconsistency. Allow him to take a step forward. They did not. There is also time pressure. The window is closing. Limic and his team are convinced that if Isak plays the next match for Newcastle, that will be the end. The club will use it as a signal. All fine, he is back. The conflict is over. Hence the no-show. In effect, he has made his decision. Do not play, transfer possible. Play, goodbye Liverpool. There are risks, however, not only sporting, financial ones too. If substantial fines arrive and the transfer is blocked, his current stance could prove disastrous. Meanwhile, the Magpies are, by rumor, already assessing replacements. Isak is a central figure in attack, and losing him would deal Howe a real blow. In the end, Liverpool wait, Isak fights for his chance, Newcastle resist. Each day without a resolution only raises the temperature. So be ready, either here we go soon or a war. Andre Lunin once again stands before an open door. This time, it is being held by Jose Mourinho himself. Fenerbahce are firmly interested in the Ukrainian goalkeeper and, by all accounts, have already approached Real Madrid with a concrete request. Why the urgency? Quite simply, there are 2 weeks left in the transfer window, and Mourinho appears to have limited confidence in his current goalkeeping options. What are Fenerbahce proposing? A classic arrangement, a loan with an option to buy. The format suits all parties. Madrid do not lose the player outright, Lunin gains the opportunity to play, and the Turkish club effectively conduct a trial before committing. A notable detail, Lunin can be bought for 25 million euros. That is the amount set in his release clause. In the current market, it is more than reasonable for a goalkeeper who has already demonstrated top-level quality. According to those close to him, Lunin is seriously weighing this option. Hardly surprising. How long can he remain on the bench behind Courtois? There have been bright spells, particularly when the Belgian was injured. But regular football has not materialized and is unlikely to in the near future. Courtois is fit and ready to lead again. Consequently, Andre reverts to second choice, which means no match practice, no stability, no real development. This has been circulating for some time. Lunin has been linked with the Premier League. There was interest from Manchester United and Newcastle, but it never progressed beyond polite inquiries. Here, by contrast, there is Mourinho. Concrete negotiations, real chances. It is serious. 2 points may influence the outcome. First, the Champions League. If Fenerbahce fail to pass qualifying, the project immediately loses much of its appeal. Second, Real Madrid's stance. On the one hand, Lunin's contract runs until 2028, suggesting he is in their plans. On the other, if the player asks to leave, the club will not hinder him. Mutual, as they say. In addition, do not forget, in the event of a sale, Madrid will need to find a new backup goalkeeper. Will they want to do that now? Quite possibly. Particularly if they can find someone on lower wages and without ambitions to start. Lunin has the chance to begin a new chapter now, and perhaps this is precisely the moment when it is necessary. Barcelona have resolved the Lewandowski issue once and for all, and the decision is a harsh one. The Pole is set to be replaced now rather than at the end of his contract. The chosen successor is Dusan Vlahovic of Juventus. The situation around Robert is becoming increasingly fraught. His contract runs until 2026, yet the club are already openly preparing for a separation. Hansi Flick has begun trialing Ferran Torres and Marcus Rashford as a center forward. In essence, the German is already seeking a game plan without the Pole. And this is despite Lewandowski and his agent Pini Zahavi loudly proclaiming their loyalty to the club. It has reached the point where they gave an interview detailing how Robert rejected a Saudi offer worth more than 100 million euros per season. An astronomical figure, you'll agree, but at Barca, it impressed no one. La Gazzetta dello Sport even report a bombshell. The Catalans could sign a new striker, namely Vlahovic. The leadership's logic is disarmingly simple. If you can acquire a top 25-year-old forward for relatively modest money, why wouldn't you? Financial problems? When such an opportunity arises, few will fret about that. Vlahovic's situation is intriguing in its own right. He is stuck at Juventus on 12 million euros a year. The old lady are trying every possible way to move him on, but Dusan is standing firm. His plan is straightforward. See out the contract, collect every last euro, then leave as a free agent and pocket a signing bonus. Crafty. Certainly, but Barcelona's emergence could change the equation. The Serb's time in Turin reads like a manual titled, How to Waste a Talent. At Fiorentina, he tore teams apart. At Juve, he has become merely a good striker. And the problem isn't Vlahovic himself. He has a phenomenal strike, perhaps the best in Serie A. His runs beyond defenders are exceptional. Yet what has Thiago Motta done? Asked him to play with his back to goal, link play, and act as a static target in the box. That is his weakest facet. It is like asking a sprinter to run a marathon. He will run, but to what end? Now, imagine Vlahovic in Barcelona's structure. Vertical passes, space in behind, fast transitions, it suits him perfectly. He could again become the defense-destroying machine he was in Florence. Amusingly, Lewandowski is currently injured, hamstring trouble. So, Barca could genuinely end up without a proper striker if something goes awry. In that context, Vlahovic looks not merely interesting, but a salvation. Thus the paradox. Lewandowski refuses Saudi millions for Barcelona, while Barcelona are eyeing his replacement. Vlahovic is sitting at Juventus and does not want to leave, yet they are effectively pushing him out. Amid this chaos, Barcelona are trying to get the deal done. Will they succeed? Time will tell. Garnacho is virtually a Chelsea player already. At least the Argentine certainly thinks so. Ben Jacobs reports the Manchester United forward has agreed personal terms in full with the Blues and is now simply waiting for the clubs to reach an agreement. That, however, is where the issues lie. United want £50 million for Garnacho. Chelsea are prepared to pay £35 to £40 million at most. The gap is notable, but not insurmountable, especially given the Red Devils have already lowered their demands. They initially asked for £70 million. Progress, in other words. The most striking part is that Garnacho is practically pleading with United to let him join Chelsea specifically. He rejected approaches from other European clubs, including Bayer Leverkusen, who were ready to put down £35 million back in January. United chose to keep him then. In hindsight, a misstep. The point is, Garnacho has been told he has no future in Manchester, and he is only 21. With that, his desire to leave looks entirely logical. Chelsea understand the context and are putting pressure on United, exploiting the situation. One thing I don't understand, YouTube shows you watch every video, yet the subscribe button seems wired like a bomb. Is this a challenge? Watch everything but never subscribe? Hardcore mode, is it? Fine, I'll wait. Subscribed yet? No? Right, on we go. According to The Telegraph, the Blues believe £35 million is a fair price, given Garnacho's current standing at Old Trafford. That is, the standing of a player who has been told to pack his suitcase. And you know what? They may be right. Manchester United are in a difficult position. On one side, Garnacho represents pure profit in their accounts, and they don't want to sell for less than £50 million. On the other, the player wants only Chelsea, time is short, the window closes soon, and the season has already begun. Chelsea hope for a breakthrough by the weekend. They are also working on outgoings, so the process may be delayed, but sources claim United's stance is softening by the day. By the way, Napoli came in for Garnacho in January with a £60 million offer. United declined. Now they are ready to let him go for £50 million or even less. Some strategic planning that, in short, all parties are actively working on the deal. Garnacho is already in London in his head, Chelsea are getting the money ready, and United are counting the losses. It seems the transfer will happen. The only question is the final sum. I think they will settle around £42 to £45 million. Chelsea will overpay a little, United will come up short, but Garnacho will be happy. A classic transfer story where everyone is slightly dissatisfied except the player.